Tuesday, October 18th, and this is a SPY recap. End of the day, you can see here today was a 2-up day, but a red day in the sense that it opened near the high and closed a little lower mid-range, but still a pretty strong up day overall, gapping up from yesterday. And if we look at just quickly, the action today, I highlighted it on a mid-morning video. It was really kind of a move lower to fill the gap type of day and then consolidated, and that's kind of what I was expecting, even as I saw it heading down early in the morning, that we're likely filling the gap and then would have a tough time getting back up to the highs of the day, but didn't think, given the overall structure that's developing, which we've discussed now, that we're broadening lower here and likely to take out these targets and broaden higher. You didn't anticipate this really going much lower. So there was, like I said, some kind of scalp trade down here to head back into this little gap you can see here. And actually, it actually moved up to this little gap. You can see there was a little gap in here that it eventually moved to before consolidating. And then after market, we're right back up at the highs again. So what's happening here is the market, is kind of making it tricky in terms of intraday trading as it works its way higher. We had a big move up here. That was kind of a sign that we could be, setting a whole new broadening action to the top. But on the next day, it immediately comes down. You can see here. So even though it's heading much higher, this whole day was tricky. But it's filling a gap. Again, you can see these two big bars form a gap. Then we gap up big the next day, but it doesn't give you much of an opportunity for follow through. So then you get the gap up the next day and immediately comes down and fills the gap. So all the market's doing here as it works higher is kind of filling these gaps along the way, which makes it tricky intraday to take advantage. I mean, the one thing, if nothing else, as you kind of see this developing, you kind of know, like from yesterday, let's say you bought or you held on to knowing, I discussed in yesterday's video how this green bar to me was kind of a sign that we're heading up here. So if nothing else, if you were holding a position here, it gave you the confidence to hold through this type of day. And then now we're heading higher and we'll see where we end up tomorrow morning. But overall, again, we still have the 2-up week with a green week and projecting up to those highs here. And the month is still green. So we know the continuity is bouncing up a little bit. And we're going to stay biased to the long side until that changes. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Again, today, not an easy day in terms of at least my methodology, where I'm looking at the opening direction of the day and then seeing what develops, in terms of a primary move and then a secondary move possibly. So the primary move is definitely down, no secondary move, just a quick, early morning drop, and then we consolidated the rest of the day. And I kind of, was anticipating that. And when you anticipate that, if nothing else, like I said, it keeps you holding long through this whole, if we look at from the bottom here, you can just see it grind, moving up in all kinds of choppy, volatile ways, gaps, and moves down. And, at times of the day where it makes it hard to trade. Yesterday was kind of an easy day if you look for individual stocks. And this day, the first move up was easy once it crossed the midpoint of this range. But other than that, this down day wasn't easy to trade. And, today wasn't easy to trade in terms of really, unless you just wanted to play that sell signal, as I discussed on the opening video, into the gap. Once you saw that, you could have just looked at the opening bar, said, okay, it looks like price wants to move down there, just knowing there is a gap down there. But anyway, we'll see what happens tomorrow. I still think we're heading to take these highs out, and I still think we're heading higher until anything changes.